What up, guys? Sorry for the delay. I had to put the link up. Don't know what's going on here, so I'm up here right now. Got my marker. Doubt that I'll need it, but maybe. This is interesting times, and I keep having people ask me the same question over and over and over again. So let's talk about it. All right, so right now, what we have, at least the stuff that we know about, we actually know to be true. Okay, this is what I know to be true right now. A lot of our lenders, our sub two lenders, the note's not even in our name, have already reached out to us because we're the people that get the mail calls, all that, and offered forbearance, 90-day forbearance, and we're taking it every time they do it. Several other people like American Express, all kinds of people have offered assistance during this time. You never get this. Understand that. Economic crisis, anything that goes down like this, anything that happens during these tough times, typically you don't get these resources. You don't get the government printing money. You don't get lenders reaching out to you. Several lenders have reached out to us to offer delay on payments. You don't get this. You never get this sort of thing. But here we are, and we're in unprecedented times. We're getting it. So what does this mean for the opportunities? And I really I hate even really thinking about it, because here's the way I feel about it. Like right now, we're just kind of all going along living life, and something happens that nobody could underwrite or plan for. Black swan, whatever you want to call it. So we all get hammered equally. There's nobody, like however good you were doing before, if you're doing bad, there's only a handful of people that are capitalized enough to be able to take advantage of any opportunities that this create. And to be quite honest with you, other than Logan Bentley Former, who I love, every other one that I've seen on the internet ever are the most miserable people I've ever seen post on the internet. They are always talking the weirdest shit on planet Earth, conspiracy theories, and all kinds of crazy stuff, and talking about hoarding money and buying Bitcoin and all this weird shit that it's just like, I don't even know if I want that in my ear. But even when I talk to them right now, they're still critical of everything that's going on in the world. So their big prediction came true, and it still didn't make them happy as far as the way the Fed's handling everything right now. And this is just comment section these are just comments that I make on the internet. I'm not talking about anybody that is a friend of mine or that I know personally. These are just people out in outer space land of the internet. I've never met them in real life. Okay. They should be giddy right now. They're not. So this is an unprecedented thing that we got going on. But people keep asking about the opportunities, and I think about it in a sour this way because, I think we're all going to be doing equally bad if we believe that this is an opportunistic time, because it's affecting everybody. It's not like when the oil field goes down and all of a sudden you can pick up a sweet side-by-side and a Ford Raptor because one sector of the world is doing bad, right? It's not that kind of event. It's the kind of event that drags us all down. So we're all get to go be equally poor together. That's first off. Secondly, real estate, you can see what the stock market's doing. Real estate is going to have this lag to it. It's going to take a while for it to flush its way out. Let's just think about it right now. Let's just think about it in normal context. Right now, everything gets crushed. All the restaurants go away. All of a sudden, all the waitresses are going to be homeless, I assume is what people think in their heads. That's not how this works, though. If they do want to become homeless, they might move in with their mom, dad, say, fuck it, I'm out of here, and leave a unit that needs to be made ready or whatever. But a lot of them aren't going to do that. They're going to sit there and require you to evict them or whatever's going to take place there. There's going to be some sort of struggle. So that takes time to sort of stuff out. Well, what did the government do? They stepped in and said, hey, we're going to close courts and all of this, no evictions, at least in Texas, till August 19th. All right. Now there's a delay. Now they know right now, even though they could, under normal circumstances, go live with their mom, they don't have to. So that's going to slow down that process. Okay. There's not going to be any rent coming in, but there's not going to be a vacancy there either to fill. That person is just going to occupy that unit for the duration. So even if you had somebody, which this is the other side of it, that wanted to get away from higher rent and come into a lower bracket, you might not have units available to offer them because you got squatters living there. That's terrible. So it's prolonging. We got internet again. If you're going to go through foreclosure, what else did they do? They put the pause on foreclosures. So now everybody that would make a decision right now, I can't afford my house, I want to sell it. I've read articles that Freddie and Fannie made people might go out to a year, 1 entire year. So I can no longer afford my house that I'm own, but I don't have to do nothing about it for a year. Maybe I can be able to afford it by the end of the year, and they take all those payments attached to the end. So will there be an opportunity there? Sub 2 people that understand sub 2 would have opportunity to do that. But there's going to be no motivation there. None whatsoever. Like, that motivation is going to be erased. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to pull all of the foreclosure inventory back. It's just going to pull the reins back on it. Everybody might get a loan modification now, because if they deregulate it to where now you don't have to be Dodd-Frank compliant, oh, we're just going to do it for this time period only, all the people that were in foreclosure are now going to get hooked up too. So maybe everybody gets a loan modification now, right? So maybe that sector of inventory doesn't even exist anymore. Pre-foreclosures aren't even a thing, but there are still going to be sensible people that are going to know that I don't really want this anymore, okay? So I need to get rid of it. What about your grandmother and grandfather that are free and clear, that are sitting there or have high equity? Now what are they doing? Are they looking to sell and run away into the unknown? Maybe if they're in a place that's got a lot of coronavirus, maybe. But if they're like everybody else, they're just hunkered down. I don't want to leave. I don't want to get out of here. I know this. I understand this. It's paid for. I'm not trying to get out of here. So where will the opportunity actually show up first? To me, this isn't normal, because normally you wouldn't have all this excess. Plus, the government's going to pump more money into it, so people that would otherwise maybe not be able to afford it are still going to be able to afford it. I mean, it's just going to be this crazy ass just nothing, where everybody's going to take a pause. Now let's look at the flip side of it. If you're wholesaling, if you're a landlord, if you're a flipper, okay, our value is going to be impacted when you have less buyers in the market. Now, if there's credit freezes and money's not moving and employment gets interrupted, okay, so now you have an employment interruption and you're going for a trying to buy a house and you get an employment interruption, but you go right back to work for a competitor. Did you lose buying power? I don't know. You need to ask Andrew if you want to know the question to that. I know that certain people, if they do a credit check right before you're about to close, and if you were late on a credit card, it can knock you out of qualification. So how many people that could buy a house, before all of this, that have some fly-by-night credit card company that ain't going to work with them, that's going to ding that credit, that's going to take them down? On the inverse of that, how much more buying power will people have if interest rates are down in the low threes? How many more people will be able to afford a house above that $50,000 threshold, where Dodd-Frank kind of keeps people from getting those lower loans, so they can now afford a $75,000 house, so they'll be able to buy it. So is there going to be opportunity there in that lower margin? Yes, I believe so. But I really don't know where you're going to get the inventory to be able to flip it. If you're buying it to flip it, I don't know where you're going to get the inventory, because we just covered that, everybody that's free and clear is probably hunkered down. Everybody that would go through foreclosure is probably about to get some magical ass loan modification. And the government's hell bent on printing money and keeping everybody in a house. So where is the opportunity? And I mean this, like, I hate hearing that word thrown around in tough times, but where's the opportunity in this? And the more I beat my head on the wall, the the more I think about it, the people that are going to be most likely to sell in the next couple of months are going to be the landlords that are 60, 70 years old. They understand the game, okay? And they're no longer collecting rent. That tenant's been in there for probably 10 years. Now they can't get them out, okay? And they're going to have to continue to make repairs on it. They're going to have to continue to deal with this dude's bullshit. And they know that if he can't afford it on the backside because of whatever reason, that then they're going to have to take on this $5,000 or $10,000 out of their nest egg, okay, to put it into the house, to put it into it, to get it livable for the next tenant. And they're not going to want to do that. They're not going to want to do that at all. As a matter of fact, that's going to be such an opportunity where not only can you leverage the situation with lending and everything else to get owner finance, right? I'm going to go in there, I'm going to make the seller the bank for me, okay? But I'll be able to pick it up as a rental property and probably negotiate on interest rate, just because the offset of that is I got to spend $10,000 if I own that house, or I can hand it over to this person, reinstate my passive income that I like so much. Let's get me through my golden years and roll on out the other side. So I think that opportunity is the one opportunity that I see like right now that's glaring. Now, will there be more as, situations change? Yes. But right now, with people not being able to evict tenants, with people not being able to collect cash and cash flow being interrupted, if you approached a landlord with 20 units and said, I want to owner finance these, you were getting passive income off of them, use all the noise in the atmosphere to get an interest-free loan or no money down loan, just get some really good terms. Now you can get those properties, and you're going to have to be a landlord. That's a caveat on this. I mean, flipping's, you might be able to flip it, whatever, but for a little while you're going to have to be a landlord on some of those units. And I think if you can find those sellers, that you'll have an opportunity. Will the title company still be open because Dallas County shut down all essential businesses? I don't know. That's a great question for somebody in Dallas. I don't know, man. Obviously somebody's going to have a title plant somewhere. I don't know. I don't think they all pull title at the courthouse anyways. I don't know who the abstractors are. I don't really understand how that whole process works. I know over here in Groesbeck, there's people down there actually pulling the files, and the title plants in the courthouse. And they're still open for business, so I wouldn't know. But I will tell you this. If you understand owner finance, if you understand how to purchase owner finance, if you understand how to be a landlord, because there's going to be a lot of people in this that didn't want to be landlords that are now about to be landlords, because if this continues on longer, like right now, inventory is still moving, people are still looking at houses, people are still buying houses, but the longer this goes on, the more likely it's going to be that people will lose buying power for one reason or another, credit ding, job loss, something of that nature. And the longer it kind of strokes out like this, the harder it's going to be for flippers, wholesalers like us. We've got 2 properties that we're going to be listing out for $150,000. I hope they fly off the shelf, but if they don't, I'm going to have to rent them out. And I don't mind being a landlord because we're already a landlord. Matter of fact, we're going to put a for sale sign and a for rent sign in the yard at the exact same time. The real question for me, and I was just having this conversation with somebody, is what's the lending look like on the backside? Are the small local community banks still going to be able to lend? Are they still going to have enough liquidity to lend? Or is every farmer in town running down there and pulling all their cash out? All of a sudden, is there a bunch of money and mattresses all over town? Where, our banks, has there been a run on the bank? Are they going to be able to actually make loans? That's question number one. Question number two is the secondary market where, we were getting those kind of jacked up fees and interest rates where, you're paying 6.8% interest, got a shit ton of fees on the front side, and they'll do 75% LTV, asset-based loan, no credit history, whatever. I don't know if those loans will even be there. There'll be very few of those products on the market for people. So that's going to pull a bunch of buyers. Right now, everybody will always say it, cash is king. Hard money lenders aren't loaning right now. Several hard money lenders have quit loaning. So if you're wholesaling, all of a sudden your buyer pool goes way down because the people that rely on their hard money lenders are no longer buyers, right? So private capital, access to private capital is going to be key for a lot of people's business. And then, whatever that refinance loan to keep properties as rental property right now, that's that's huge that if you're afraid of that, to get over that fear, because I mean, you can still flip houses. I'm not saying you can't. You can still wholesale houses. I'm not saying you can't, but you better underwrite it like you're going to put a tenant in there, because you don't want to be making that hard money payment for 6 months, having it eat into your margin. If you put it out and it's not getting any showings, and then you lower the price, it's still not getting any showings. There's no price in the world that's going to make that piece of real estate move at that moment in time. But there's probably a tenant waiting for it right then. If you put it out for rent, you'll probably have somebody servicing that debt for you. And if you understand how to get a loan on the backside, if you've built banking relationships, or maybe the government loosens up regulations a little bit to keep money moving, and you can take advantage of that when that happens. So keep your ear to the grindstone. But the real opportunity, I believe, is going to be landlords that have that mid-level, that 10, 15 houses. There's going to be a lot of pain there for landlords that can't collect rent. And if you can get in there and talk to them and talk them into owner financing for them, you can probably ride that wave and get that thing performing. And then if the market bounces back, like, it just comes roaring back, like, Trump keeps saying it's going to come right back. If it does that, because the government's so willing to print money and everything's, they try to normalize everything by pumping a bunch of capital into these businesses that would otherwise fail, then the market could come right back. And you could have gotten a bunch of equity on that deal in this time, because you understand how to negotiate owner finance, and you're targeting somebody that's got a big pain point right now of tenants that aren't paying them. And, they're looking at it going, man, I'm going to have to put some money into that asset when I get rid of that tenant. And I don't really want to empty out my bank account to do that, because there's a lot of fear in the marketplace. Everybody wants to hold on to capital. They want to hoard capital. So you want to make sure you do that, guys. If you got any questions, drop them in the comments section. I'll come back to it tomorrow. I'm going to be on here tomorrow talking about some of the things that we're doing right now, forbearance that we're getting from lenders, credit lines. We're drawing down $100,000 credit line. While we're doing that, what we're going to do with that money, be discussing that over the next few days. So there's several things that we're doing to navigate this. That I know that there's a bunch of cocksuckers out there just hoping and wishing we fail, but we ain't dead yet. So I think April 1 we collect. I think we collect probably 95% of our rent, and the other tenants are the ones that need help, and we will be able to help them out. And that's my hope, that we're able to help the ones that need help as they need help. And, we can get through this and keep our employees working, keep our employees paid, keep everything moving forward. And then hopefully our hard money lending product, we're going through that training right now. They are able to lend money. So hopefully we can help y'all keep some deals moving too. Ryan Harper, what's up? I'm about to end this. I appreciate y'all's time. If you jumped in late, go back to the beginning. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Later, homies.